Deep Threat Sports Network fans, welcome back. We have been looking really forward to this episode. The draft's over now. We can talk some Dynasty fantasy football stuff for all these rookie rankings that are coming out. I know Bryant and myself have been pumped up for this episode. This morning we get in here early, get to drink a little coffee and have a little morning episode, get your guys' weekend going. I have Dave and Bryant with me today. Unfortunately, Nolan couldn't make it. He was going to, but new baby for Nolan at home. We totally get how stressful and how much time that can take up on your hands. So we totally understand that. But Bryant and Dave, it's good to have you guys back. Dave's on baby duty himself, so he may not get to say too much, maybe muted most of the time, but going to get in here when he can. But Bryant and I, mostly you're going to be hearing from us. We're going to do a little draft recap and then talk some dynasty rankings like we've been talking about so far. So, Bryant, what was your overwhelming opinion on this draft for the 2026 NFL draft?
We kind of talked about it in our preview show of the draft itself, and it was a heavy defensive draft for sure. A lot of the top guys in the first round were defensive players, which we saw that coming in almost before the college football season started last year. You knew the guys that were going to be really good and drafted high were on the defensive side of the ball. So that was my takeaway. Not a lot of firepower on the offensive side of the ball, especially what we've seen the past couple of drafts as far as offensive players and fantasy relevant players. But nonetheless, there was a lot of elite players taken in the first couple of rounds, and I thought some really good sleepers in the later rounds as well, but definitely leaned more defensively.
Hey, Ron says, "What's up, boys?" Ron, good to see you in here, man. If you guys probably know Ron, he hops in here with us on shows every once in a while. Thanks for hopping in this morning. Yeah, totally agree, Brian. When you look at this thing from a whole and you kind of put it in a vacuum, it's very defensive for sure. To put it in perspective, you only have two quarterbacks go in the first two rounds total. That is insane when you dissect the NFL draft, because these teams are always willing to overpay for quarterbacks. Didn't feel like the running back class was all that great. I mean,
man.
Yeah, and in our draft show, you and I think talked about it, how you have tens of guys that are like all the same, and wherever you can get them later in the draft, they're so similar that you don't feel like you're really separating yourself. I mean, it was truly Jeremiah Love, large step, and then whoever you had as your number two. And you see the Notre Dame running back duo get drafted before anybody else. But it is just such a massive jump between Jeremiah Love and every other running back. The receiving class was good. It just wasn't you don't really have that guy. Like, let's put it in perspective for 2027 season. You have Jeremiah Smith, you have Cam Coleman. Those are like big name guys that people can hitch their wagon to and be like, hey, this receiver class was really good. In this one, a lot of people, which I know he got drafted as the first receiver, but Carnell Tate, like, to me, is he really that guy? Like, is he really comparable to Jeremiah Smith and a Cam Coleman for 2027? I don't think so. So I think the class was average and deep, but not spectacular, Bryant.
I was just about to say that. There was a lot of quality guys across the board, but nothing that's going to wow you, like you mentioned, with the Cam Coleman, Jeremiah Smith type players. Pretty much the only guys I thought were the wow type picks on the offensive side of the football were Mendoza and Jeremiah Love. After that, I think you can argue that almost every one of these other players is above average to below average in that middle of the range in the pack, and you can lump them all into basically one group.
So what's crazy is I love that we're doing this already, because we're going to tie a lot of this stuff into fantasy base later. Like, we had a great conversation, I think it was Thursday, in our group chat with all of us that do the show, about how some of these quarterbacks, who is the best, who would be ranked the highest. But what's crazy is those guys that are ranked the highest may not play for the longest time, and the lower ranked guys have a better chance because they're in a better fit. Same thing with the running back situations and the receiver situations. So we have a lot to get to there. So the first thing we're going to do here is we just had a small draft conversation. We'll get into some draft snubs, some draft steals, and then we're going to roll right into the fantasy thing. But one thing that I want to talk about for me, Brian, is Garrett Nussmeier going so late. He goes in the 7th round, pick 249. That was solely because of the injury, correct?
I think so. And the film that they saw because of that injury he was dealing with at LSU all of this past season and maybe longer, we don't know. It wasn't really that shocking. But then again, like, you looked at him this time last year and you're like, oh, that guy's going in the first round. So talk about a tumble, but that's what happens when you have an injury in a bad season. they're going to roll you down the draft boards as quick as possible. And personally, I don't think Garrett Nussmeier ever plays meaningful snaps in the NFL.
I totally agree. And what blows my mind too, though, is I think we're seeing these college players staying in college longer because of NIL deals. And I think we no longer have, like before, you would see, it's hard to explain, like before you would see a younger college player and he'd put some film on tape and you're just like, wow, man, this guy gets to the next level. He really could be this star. Well, what you're seeing these college guys do is they're staying in college longer, and you're starting to understand more of what they are. Like you're getting a baseline of what this player really is, not really hoping what they can become, because now you've seen what they really are. Does that make any sense? Like you're seeing more film, so you don't have the unexpected hope of some of these players that you're wanting.
So would you say it's better for the NFL? Like that these guys are staying longer? Because essentially you're getting proven talent, I feel like, if they've been, 2-3 years, maybe 4 or 5 at this point.
You're walking a fine line. You're walking a fine line because the NFL seems like they draft a lot off of hope almost, it seems like sometimes. But then also the proven talent can also be beneficial too. So from a franchise standpoint and a player standpoint, you're walking a fine line. Like for Ty Simpson, for instance, like he's only played 15 college football games. He solely got drafted off of hope. Now, if you look at Mendoza, he's played a lot of college football games, and he's put tape. He's won. He's proven talent. So that's going to be kind of the model here is what it's going to look like. Does Ty Simpson have a better career, or does Mendoza have a better career? Yeah, who you get drafted to kind of aids in that and can also be a downfall at the same time. But the players are kind of walking a fine line as well as the franchise on drafting these guys based on production or potential.
So the first guy that comes to my mind that we could use for this season and even going into next season was Dante Moore. Like, I think if Dante Moore would have came out, he'd have been the number 2 pick in the draft, probably on the Jets. And you would have been drafting based on what you saw, which was a small sample size with some talent. And then you're drafting him at number 2 because you have all of this hope that, his ceiling could be so high. And it can. But what you're going to see now is maybe he goes into this 2026 college football season, and then for the 2027 NFL draft, maybe he slides down because we got a whole nother year of what Dante Moore is. And like now we know what he is. We're not hoping, we now see what he is.
Absolutely. And it's better for a player to develop in the NFL as well. There's some great college football programs that can develop players and get them to their full potential, but the NFL is, I wouldn't say night and day better, but much better and more consistent at doing that.
Well, I think too, what's crazy to me is like the quarterback position from college to NFL is so hard. And I feel like it's so hard to grade because college schemes don't line up with NFL schemes, and you're not playing against NFL players every single game. Like that's the hardest position for me to go from college to NFL. It's so tough to grade, in my opinion, and that's why they get it wrong more times than they get it right, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. And you see a lot more under center in NFL too, so that plays a part of it that you don't hardly ever see that in college football anymore.
Yep, for sure.
Because the NFL is so heavy on play action. Aaron Rodgers has made a career off of play action and off from under center, and you just don't see that in college. I mean, I keep talking about Mendoza because he's the number 1 player in the draft, and he went to my favorite team. But like his biggest red flag on multiple draft boards I was reading was he's only taken 1 snap in his career in college football under center.
Yep, and it's hard to change and grow. Learning that concept. Dave, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I mean, I was just going to go back to like just how you guys were mentioning how players are staying longer in college, and like whether that's a good or a bad thing. I mean, just out of curiosity, I was looking up like the average NFL career is a little over 3 years. So like you look at something like a running back, like if he stays an extra year in college, like what is his longevity there? Like, you look at a Jeremiah Love, he stays another year. Like how much does he have left in the tank? And, especially like running backs are prone to get injured. Even quarterbacks. Like what is their longevity going to look like? So like, do you stay that extra year and develop in college? Do you just go ahead and bounce to the NFL and develop? But I agree with Bryant. Like if your plans go to NFL, you might as well just go to NFL and just not get that guaranteed $3 or $4 million in college and just maybe take a lesser pay and just go to the NFL, develop there with, what is – I feel like of all sports that transition from college to professional, I feel like you kind of hit the nail on the head, Colin. It's the same sport, but it's almost like a different world when you get to the NFL.
It's the same sport, but it's different. I mean, it's a totally different ball game. It's different schemes, different packages. Everything's different. The way certain coaches do different things. I mean, some offenses work. Mobile quarterbacks work better in college. They always have. You kind of see the transition to the NFL now where they're getting more mobile and they like guys that aren't just statues like the Peyton Mannings and the Tom Bradys of the world. They're kind of trending away from that for the most part. But, yeah, Dave, I mean, the first guy that comes to mind to your question is Ashton Jeanty. Man, there was a lot of conversation about Ashton Jeanty when he had so many carries and so many miles on the legs. Some of these teams were scared of him. He was so good, but they were scared a little bit because he had so many miles, and that running back position just takes a pounding. So
I got something to add to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
To Dave's point, it kind of depends on what position you're in. As a quarterback, I think you can stay longer because your prime age is later on in your career. Whereas if you look at historically, I'm strictly talking mostly offense here. Defense is, about the same across the board. But if you're at a skill position, your plateau in production is like 27 and a half years old. So if you're a year 3 guy in college, go to the league because you're going to get another year of production in the prime of your career. So I think quarterback position, probably like, tackle, maybe safeties, those type of positions have a little bit more leash as far as their prime and their longevity. But if you're anywhere else, go as soon as possible.
Totally agree. Real quick, when I get to some comments, Brenda says, good morning. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Leon joined us as always, says good morning as well. Leon, thanks for having me back, buddy. Ron gets in here with a question real quick, and this is more fantasy based. So I'm going to leave this pulled up, his question, until we get to the fantasy aspect. Had great conversation so far. Let's just keep these next 2 parts brief and get right into the fantasy thing. Brian or Dave, do either one of you have a draft snub that comes to your mind? Because I do have 4 down, so I'm not going to get all 4 of them, but I'm just going to see what you guys have down for a draft snub for the NFL draft.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, I mean, I was going to say, like, I personally –
You're going to say Diego Pavi and don't say it.
No, listen.
That dude's
I do see why teams passed up, but at the same time, I feel like if it wasn't for his personality, I feel like a lot of teams would have taken the risk on him because he's not going to be a starter. He's never going to be a starter in the NFL, but I feel like he would be a guy that you throw in their worst-case scenario, and he will at least do mid, But
he's
again
– he's not big enough, man. He's just not big. He's just not big enough.
Dude, but how many undersized players have we seen go into the NFL and perform? Like, I'm not saying he is
Kyler Murray, baby.
Kyler Murray, and that's it, yeah.
But again, even then, I just feel like there was a lot of guys. There wasn't a whole lot of huge snubs. Like,
I got a couple that I want to talk about like that are bad in my opinion.
I just feel like the whole class as a whole was just okay. So it was like, man, if you got drafted, great for you. If you didn't, like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like there was nothing like mind blowing like it is in previous years where it's like, how do they drop so low? How do they go so high? I don't know. I was Ty Simpson again. To your point, I was shocked that he went so high.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying I that's not where I spend my money at the top.
100%. I got the biggest snub for me, and Brian, you and I talked about this player because of his injury going into the draft. Is Jermod McCoy, the cornerback from Tennessee, slips all the way down to the 4th round, pick 101. He is a legit number 1 cornerback in the NFL, pending his injury. As long as his injury is okay, this dude will legit be the number 1 cornerback on his team. He is as legit as it gets. He's great man cover, great zone cover. This dude can do it all. He high points the ball well. 2 other guys that come to mind right off the rip here that they actually both went undrafted was Jamari Taylor, the running back from Virginia, and Michael Trigg, the tight end from Baylor. Brian, I know you and I talked about him, and you and I had Trigg in our top 3 for tight ends.
He must have had horrible interviews or something because, I mean, that dude's tape is unbelievable.
He's an unreal talent.
Like, how much different is Michael Trigg coming out of college than Kyle Pitts?
I think off the top of my head, I think Pitts is a little bit longer, right? But
Similar tape, though. Granted, I don't think he had the numbers Pitts did, but, like, he's that type of player.
Yeah, dude. And Baylor funneled their offense through Michael Trigg. Like, I know we only had like a 29-inch vertical at the combine. That's horrible.
Yeah. I think he just graded out and taped, and I think he just did the off-the-field stuff that bad that he got drafted so low. Similar to, like, Shedeur Sanders last year. I mean, his tape was pretty good. He wasn't a bad player on the field, but, like, his draft interviews and combine and all that was just so bad. He slid so far. I think it's a similar situation.
Trigg is a guy, though, that goes undrafted. The Cowboys sign him, and is a guy that legit could see the field. If they give him any chance at all, this dude will earn his playing time. I guarantee it. This dude is too good to go start selling insurance at some office wherever he's from. Like, this dude needs to be in the NFL because with the ball in his hands, he's an absolute freak. And if you don't know who we're talking about, just go watch his film. Brian, you and I went into this conversation deeply too on our pre-draft show. You have to look at production over the combine and stuff. Like, the combine shit kills me because let's say he's a little bit slow. Let's say his 40 time was a little slow. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but let's say it was slow and teams didn't like that. If you're on the field and you're in the open field and you have the ball in your hands, I promise you that person is a lot faster running away from other players towards the end zone than they are running a 40. Like, there are so many things that the combine just can't grade that they put too much stock into.
He ran a 4.7. That's probably why.
I mean, he's a big boy. That's not terrible. I mean,
David Bailey is 6'5", 260-pound defensive tackle, ran like a 4.5.
He ran a 4.5. Yeah, which that dude's a freak. That's why he went pick 2.
See, I'm personally very, like, not against all these measures, but I'm more like, yes, they should be like something like, it shouldn't be something that you rely so heavily on in regards to drafting somebody.
Dude, look at production, yes.
Yeah, like, I just feel like you look at production, you look at what they've done. Like, I just feel like these combines should not hurt players, should not hurt them. I think they should only help them. I don't think it should hurt them because if they're performing on the field, like, what's it matter? Like, and to Colin's point, listen, if I'm just running out there on a full sprint, nothing else, I'm not gonna run that hard. But I'm late in the fourth quarter, ball's deep, I'm probably gonna run faster if I ever ran. Like, it's just natural human instinct. So I just feel like those combines are just so, like, I don't know. I'm almost at the point too where I'm like, hey, maybe it's just the thing where they just want to have an event just to kind of go over that stuff, because I just feel like it also shouldn't elevate a player that's irrelevant. Like, let's say he has a super fast 40 time, and now all of a sudden he's like, wow, we're gonna get this guy. Like, if he's just fast, like, what's that matter? We've all played with people, whether it's at the high school, elementary, any level, and some kids are just fast, but that's all. That's it. And I feel like at the NFL, you got to be the complete package.
Yeah, so if I was an NFL GM, I think I would go tape, interviews. Like, do you know what you're talking about? Like,
yeah, are you a dipshit?
Yada, yada, yada. Third, I think is pro day because that's in a comfortable spot for the player. They're in their home arena, they're in their indoor or whatever. And then fourth, I think you at least look at the combine as far as like 40 time shuttle, box jump, etc. And then fifth, last thing is measurables. I don't care how big your hands are, how long your arms are, how tall you are, all this baloney. I don't know why they even do that, but it seems like a lot of the NFL teams look at that at least, but I would put that last on my list. But I agree.
I get the measurables on the arm lengths for offensive linemen and defensive linemen, right? You get your hands out. How far out can you get your hands? Can you get the separation on the lines of scrimmage? So I get that a little bit, but I'm with you, dude. The only measurables that matter to me is honestly height, weight, speed. Outside of that, could give a shit. What did you do in college? How good were you? What level did you play at in college? I also love the most underrated thing that I think teams should look at is, and it kind of goes in with what you were talking about, Bryant, though. Were you ever a captain? Were you a leader on your team?
Yes.
Did you have years of being a leader in the locker room? Did you have the C on your chest? Did the coaches look at you? Did you put the plays in for the defense? Did you put the plays in for the offense? Did you get guys lined up? I think that shit means the most too. That and your production. Getting to some comments here. Good morning to you as well, Tristan and Sherry in here. My mom joins in here and says, "Good morning, boys. Happy 30th birthday to me. Thank you. That is tomorrow. I appreciate it."
Let's answer this.
This question right
one
here.
basically says which two wide receivers taken this draft will have the most impact in year one. I think I have an answer for this.
And so is this going to the fantasy aspect? Because we're going right here.
Let's dive in and let's just go position by position on offense and go from there, and then we'll get to Ron's question when we get to the wide receiver position.
Okay. Yeah, I'll skip the draft steal section. I was going to
read. We can do that.
You got it? Okay, yeah, we can.
Let's do draft steals real quick.
So for me, I think a draft steal that I have down that was number one was Jermod McCoy. He was a snub to me and the biggest steal. Just talked about him a second ago. Chris Bell in the 3rd round, 94th pick. He is a very A.J. Brown-esque player. Can go high point the football. He's great on the outside. Did have an ACL injury. The ACL injuries are a dime a dozen, man. Everybody's got them at this point in their career. That doesn't scare me. Jayshon Barham from Michigan that went to the Cowboys, 3rd round, 92nd pick. Was a little undersized for the position, but the dude lives in the backfield. Love Jayshon Barham. And the last two I had down was Emmett Johnson, the running back from Nebraska, that, of course, goes to the Chiefs. Chiefs got them a good one. If Kenneth Walker wasn't there, fellas, I'm very confident Emmett Johnson would take this job and start. Led the Big Ten with, I think it was 1,400 yards last season, 12 touchdowns, had like 68 forced missed tackles, 46 catches, sure-handed. He's heavy, he's physical, got the height, weight, speed. And the last one for me was Taylon Green in the 6th round at pick 182. I'm going to get to him when we do the Dynasty segment. There is not a better pick for the quarterback position in this draft than what happened for Taylon Green.
I'll go a few steals. I mean, the Raiders getting Roman Hemby undrafted was a pretty good steal at the running back position. Yep. I mean, he started over Keelan Black, and Keelan Black got drafted in like the 3rd or 4th round to San Francisco. So I thought that was a good one. Malachi Fields to the Giants, I think, was a really good pickup for them as well later on in the draft. So I'll talk about him a little bit more later. At the tight end position, I thought New England picking up Eli Raridon from Notre Dame was pretty good. Yeah. He's a dang good tight end. This tight end class was rather deep, I would call it. So I thought that was a good pickup for them too, as their tight end room is always just a revolving door. We'll see if he can get in there and step it up. But those are some of the skills I saw.
To your point, the only offensive skill position that was deep in this draft was tight end. Other than that, it wasn't deep. But, yeah, the tight end needs to get a little respect. Jordan gets in and says, good to see the 3 amigos. Thanks for joining us, Jordan. Okay. Turn the page. Draft conversation's over. Let's focus solely on what's coming up with some Dynasty rookie rankings for any of you that are out there that are in a Dynasty football league.
Colin, can I jump in real quick?
Bring it on.
So when you go through rankings for a Dynasty draft, typically in a Dynasty fantasy football league, you only draft rookies, and you have 3 or 4 rounds with that. That being said, there's pretty much nowadays only 2 types of Dynasty leagues. You either have a single quarterback where you have 1 quarterback and the rest of your skill positions, or you have what's called a super flex, and there's 2 quarterbacks. So you have a quarterback A and quarterback B. Well, you can play any player in the secondary position, but typically it's quarterback because they score the most points. So if you're looking at it, your rankings kind of differ whether it's 2 quarterbacks or 1. So just keep that in mind whenever you're looking at that. Obviously, if there's 2 quarterbacks, you're going to push those guys a little bit higher.
I actually have a 7-round rookie draft starting today in an FFPC league that I'm in. I've been in it with a buddy of mine for probably 7 years, and it's a $100 league, and we have a 7-round draft beginning today.
7 rounds?
7 rounds. 7 rounds. Every
rookies?
Year of rookies. Rookies only. 7 rounds. Yep.
Dude, we're going to be digging at the bottom with a barrel by the time.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I like it, dude. I mean, it's been like that for, like I said, like 7 years, and it's honestly pretty cool. It helps, too, and, obviously Dave and Nolan when he's in here and Bryant and myself, obviously we can spit a lot of college football players' names, so 7 rounds isn't too bad for us. Some people it probably sucks. But, yeah, so let's talk some Dynasty quarterback rankings, and we have a really, really good conversation that we want to get to about this because I'm with Bryant. I already know Bryant's top 2. And, Brian, I'm going to speak for you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have Mendoza, Simpson, 1, 2, correct?
Yep, in that order.
Okay.
I think everybody does.
Everybody does, and you should. But what's crazy about the Mendoza-Simpson thing is those are the 2 quarterbacks that I would bet my money on that actually out of this draft class don't touch the field this season in meaningful snaps. You get to Carson Beck in Arizona, Drew Aller and Pitt, Cade Klubnik at the Jets. Cole Payton's not going to play for Philly. Move on, ignore him. Garrett Nussmeier's not going to play in Kansas City, but get down to Taylor Green for Cleveland. Carson Beck, Drew Aller, Klubnik, and Taylor Green, we all have ranked lower than Mendoza and Simpson. Those guys actually had the chance to play. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that Taylor Green is now the most talented quarterback in that Cleveland locker room, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think Mendoza has a chance to play depending on how Kirk Cousins does coming into Las Vegas. But ideally, he sits and starts next season, 2027. But yeah, those two guys you're kind of ranking, they're the better players, but you're kind of ranking on hope of the future. Everybody attaches the Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith, Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers. That type of stuff when you come into ranking these type of players, guys that are going to sit immediately. So they're the better players, but I agree with you. I think you can loop Carson Beck, Taylor Green, Aller, and Klubnik right with each other, and you could interchange those, and they're going to have more opportunity at least up front, which is not always a good thing in the NFL.
Let's have a little bit, because we've only gone for 26 minutes. We're moving right along pretty good. Let's have the Carson Beck, Drew Aller, Klubnik, and Taylor Green conversation in a little bit more depth, just for people out there that are listening and have a draft coming up. So Carson Beck, let me ask it to you guys like this. And Dave, I know you're mainly a college guy. I don't know how much you dive into NFL. So, but if you have anything to add, feel free. If you're the Arizona Cardinals and on your depth chart you have Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, Carson Beck, would you give Carson Beck a chance for the future? Because you know what you're going to get from Jacoby Brissett, average at best. You know what you're going to get from Gardner Minshew. And I'm here to tell you that Carson Beck, if he gets a little more polished, and I think that's what you do in the NFL, he's more talented than Brissett and Gardner Minshew. I'm not saying he should start, but I think if you want some hope or you want to give your fans some hope that maybe something could change, that's your guy, because fans know what they're going to get with Brissett.
I think Carson Beck, ideally what's going to happen, let's say it's week 6 and Arizona's 2-3. I think they're going to roll Carson Beck out there because Arizona's got some players on offense, especially with Love now. Trey McBride is one of the best tight ends in the league. Obviously, Marvin Harrison's still there. He hasn't quite lived up to his hype, but he's also had horrible quarterback play. So if Brissett is going to start, if he's middling kind of, 500, week 7, week 6, they're going to probably throw Carson Beck in and see what he can do. And I think he'll be a step up. He will struggle. He struggled at times in college as well. So I think they're going to give a little bit of leash to Brissett. And then Carson Beck's going to get his shot probably at some point this season.
I just think if you're Arizona and you're barely squeaking out wins or you're not winning at all, and let's say –
you got nothing to lose.
Exactly. You're 5 games into the season and you're 2-3. Give your fans something to come to the game for and watch and say, hey, maybe Carson Beck squeaks one out.
And Arizona fired the head coach that was somewhat attached to the previous regime of quarterbacks that are in this room. So this coaching staff drafted Carson Beck, so they're going to put him on a higher tier.
Yep. Okay, so while we're doing that, let's move on to Drew Aller and Pitt, because if you dive into Pitt's depth chart and you look at Pitt's quarterback room, it all hinges right on the Aaron Rodgers topic.
Yeah, it all depends on what Raji does. If he comes back, he's starting and playing every game.
Correct. If Rodgers doesn't come back and it's Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, Drew Aller, I'm here to tell you, I've been on Drew Aller for the last 4 years, and going into last season, I mailed it in on him and said I'm done with him because he's let me down so much. But when it comes to height, weight, arm talent, Drew Aller is better than Mason Rudolph and Will Howard, and it's not close. You just got to get a coaching staff that can make it work. Mm-hmm. You add Michael Pittman to that team this year with DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman, a decent running back room. Drew Aller, if he gets some confidence, could be the best quarterback on this roster, pending Aaron Rodgers.
They pulled in Jeremy Menard too, so there's another weapon on the outside as well.
I feel like that's a long-term project, though.
Personally, I think
it's a long-term project.
I think if Rodgers retires and doesn't come back, I think Will Howard is quarterback 1.
I think Drew Aller, for him to even
I somewhat agree with you, Colin. I wouldn't say he's far and away better than Will Howard. He's definitely better than Mason Rudolph. But I think Will Howard will start if that's the case.
What'd you have, Dave?
No, I was just gonna say I think if he's ever gonna be the guy or the starter, it's gonna be year 3, year 4 for him. Like, it's not anytime soon. Like, he may get reps here and there, but I don't see him being any hope for them in anytime soon.
Let me ask you guys this. Drew Aller, to me, and I can't believe I'm doing this again with Drew Aller, but Drew Aller, to me, in this quarterback class, I think he has the most potential of this quarterback class. But somebody has to unlock it.
No shot.
Dude, he has incredible arm. There's not a throw on the field he can't make. The dude was on a leash at Penn State forever, had zero confidence.
He doesn't have the highest potential. No.
Who in this class? You're going to say Mendoza, but who in this class are you taking over him if you're not picking Mendoza? Because Mendoza had a really good season. There ain't no doubt. But, dude, Drew Aller.
He can make every throw, too.
See, I feel like I'm the opposite of Brian.
I think Drew Aller and Ty Simpson are right there.
I feel like Drew Aller has a higher
I just don't love
ceiling. He just hasn't been able to hit it. So I don't know if he will hit it. But that's the thing.
And he may not.
How long has he had that potential for?
He's had 3 years to try to do this.
Look, dude, I agree. Yeah. That's why I said I can't believe I'm doing this again. But it had to be a Penn State problem. I feel like. I don't know.
We'll see. He's either going to be – ideally, I think Drew Aller's like Chase Daniel. He's a perennial backup. He's going to make a bunch of money. Comes in and starts when he needs to and then rolls on in retirement. I don't think he's ever going to make an impact, but he very well could. He could also very well be working at Costco in 3 years.
Yeah, he could very well be selling insurance next year. But, dude, with the height, the weight, and the arm talent, he's just got to nut up, dude. I really want to say some mean things, but I'm not going to. But he plays like a chicken shit, dude. Nut up. Let's go. Mm-hmm. Swing the rock. Get nothing to lose. Like, we've said this with Drew Aller for 4 years. Like, figure it out, dude. Because it's there.
It's there.
It's just horrible. So let's move on to the last two here. Cade Klubnik to the Jets.
This is interesting.
Yeah, don't love this one. I feel like he has a semi-decent chance just because the Jets quarterback room, they do add Geno Smith. If that gets you excited, you have really low expectations.
You got Brady Cook. Yeah. Love the guy, but he throws a lot of picks.
Yeah, we've been there.
I think Cade Klubnik has a shot to play this season personally. I mean, he had better college performance than Drew Aller did. He just struggled down the stretch of every season, it seemed like. So if he can kind of stay high early and then ride that train like he couldn't do in college, if he gets an opportunity, I think he could be a good player. But he needs serious work in reading a defense and progressions.
Yeah, dude, needs a ton of polish.
Yeah, his ceiling's way higher than anybody else on this team as far as quarterback's concerned.
Oh, in this quarterback room on this team? Yeah. This dude's ceiling is much higher than we've seen Geno Smith reach his peak, and Brady Cook and Bailey Zappi just pass on both of them. I'm with you. I think he has a chance to play this year. Let's go to the last one, this quarterback conversation that we want to have. And I am really excited about this one. No one's not in here with us tonight, but he gets in here in a comment and says Nussmeier highest ceiling.
Nussmeier will never see the field.
You just never see the field on that team, man. I'm with you because let's rewind 2 years ago. We were talking about how the dude has 1-1 potential, but with the injury, he's just in a really bad situation, room wise. So it's gonna be tough for him. Favorite player out of the quarterback draft right here, Taylor Green. Ever since he landed with Cleveland, I have been so excited. It's unfortunate that a lot of our listeners I'm in fantasy leagues with because I want every share I can get of Taylor Green. He is now on the quarterback room with Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson. And I'm here to tell you Taylor Green is more talented than all three of them. And it's not close in my opinion, Brian.
Mm-hmm. I agree, but I'm going to kind of go out and say something kind of crazy. I would not be surprised if Taylor Green gets moved to wide receiver. So
I could see it, seriously.
Brad Smith type situation. I mean, this is literally the same player. Elite on the ground, needs some work throwing the football. But I agree with you. He's the most talented out of the quarterback position in our quarterback room on this team. But they're going to roll with Shedeur Sanders for sure this season, and probably Dylan Gabriel's too. And they're still paying Deshaun Watson so much money. So this is just so muddy. That's why I'm saying I could see them putting him at a different position to get him on the field, because if you put him at a wide receiver, I don't know how his hands are. I'm sure they're decent, but this dude is he's one of the most athletic players in this draft.
Listen, dude, if history speaks for itself, Taylon Green's going to take some snaps at quarterback for the Browns this season. They are not afraid to play 27 quarterbacks, dude. They'll get them. Everybody's going to get their touches. But yes, he can go play wide receiver. He came out and said, "I am a quarterback. I want to be a quarterback." Give the guy a chance. Give the guy a chance.
I just wish he would have went to a better scenario. Like
is this that bad though? Because I mean, it's Cleveland.
Yeah, and they picked up some weapons at the wide receiver position as well. So he's going to have a shot because they just kind of pick off the carousel of quarterbacks on who they're going to play. But
if he goes to receiver, Bryant, we're having a different conversation about how bad they botched the draft at receiver position because they already have Jerry Jeudy, they already have Cedric Tillman, you had KC Concepcion, you had Denzel Boston. If he moves to receiver, we have got some issues to talk about as well on that roster.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I love the situation. It's a shitty team, don't get me wrong, but I love it. If I'm Taylon Green, this is the place I can go prove myself. There's no place where you can prove yourself more.
I wish you would have went to like the Colts or somewhere where you got like one guy that's going to probably play most of the snaps, and then you have a chance to bust in and show your stuff. Not like a place where there's a solidified player like where Nussmeier went, or where there's a franchise quarterback like the Bills or somewhere like that, but somewhere where you can potentially break through. This quarterback room in Cleveland is just so stupid.
It is, and for some reason people are hooking their wagon to Shadur still, which whatever. You
got something, Dave?
No, I was going to say, I just feel like I see where Colin's coming from of like it's a good place to be, but at the same time, I don't know if it is because everyone is just right at talent level right across the board. They're all pretty much the same. So it's like, how long is it going to take for him? Was it going to week 10 before he can actually get some reps in? Because they're going to rotate him out.
No, in Cleveland, Dave. It could be week 10 of 2028.
Literally, that's what I'm saying. They just have so many people that they're just going to keep allowing reps. Like, I mean, I guess he will eventually get his chance, but how long is it going to take? I mean, what do you have? 4 quarterbacks that – I mean, shoot, you might have 4 quarterbacks this year start.
Oh, yeah, you're going to there. Let's move right into the running back position here.
Yep.
The rankings for me, obviously it's Jeremiah Love 1. And I'll be honest with you, after Jeremiah Love at 1, I can't really rank him, Brian. I'm going to be honest. People love Darian Price. I don't, and I don't love the situation for him.
What do you mean? He's going to be the number 1 starter.
He is. I just don't love it. That room is very deep. I feel like he's going to be splitting a lot of carries. I don't think he's going to be just a bell cow back.
I disagree with you. Kenneth Walker went to Kansas City.
Yeah. Charbonnet's going to get his.
Charbonnet's had a massive injury. So Jadarian Price is going to step in and probably be the starter. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think the tape is strictly all touchdowns.
Yes.
He can run the ball a little bit, but nothing like Jeremiah Love. He just kind of vultured some touchdowns. Tyler Algier-esque Atlanta type running back.
That's a good
yeah, I think Jadarian Price is good. I would put him at number 2, and then after that, it's just like put all the names in a hat and pick. There's some guys that have a little bit of opportunity. They were great in college, but I don't know. Maybe number 3 is possibly Nick Singleton. He's probably going to sit this year behind Spears and Pollard, but after that, those guys are probably gone in Tennessee, so that's a good spot.
Singleton is my number 3 as well.
Yeah, I would probably go Jonah Coleman, but that's a deep Denver running back room who always you don't know who's going to play that game with them. Mike Washington to Vegas is a good spot. He's obviously not going to be the starter, but he's going to spell Genty a lot, and he's a really good player. That Arkansas backfield was probably the fastest backfield in the nation last year. Just couldn't stop a nosebleed on defense.
Yep.
And then I think I'd go Emmett Johnson, Kansas City. He's similar to Mike Washington. But after that, it's just a hodgepodge of random people. Keelan Black went high. Did not expect him to go to San Francisco that high. He graded out really well. After that, I talked about Hemby a little bit. Katron Allen could get a shot in Washington.
I have him down. Yep. It's just I don't know, man. It's the running position is just so hard. The rooms are deep. You see teams give 2 and 3 guys the workload, so it makes it even harder. I know when it comes to Dynasty, football rookie rankings, people are all about trying to get, the quarterbacks and running backs because they feel like receivers are a dime a dozen. But this running back class, man, it's not one that if I'm in a draft and I'm trading up for, there's no running unless you can get the 1-1 and get Jeremiah Love. Outside of that, take your time. Find you a guy that you feel like is going to get him some carries. I'm with you. I think Nick Singleton can get his. I know you're talking about Jadarian Price being the guy in Seattle, and he probably is. I just not a fan of him. I
feel
think
like I'm forgetting a player up there. Let me look.
Like Damon Claiborne in Minnesota, Seth McGowan in Indy. Those guys are all behind other players as well. Adam Randall in Baltimore, he's behind running backs as well. The Emmett Johnson story for me is if Kenneth Walker wasn't in the Kansas City, Emmett Johnson would be my number 2 running back.
Absolutely.
Or none.
100%.
Like you talk about Jonah Coleman, it's tough because he's now behind 2, maybe 3 running backs. Jonah Coleman could get the goal line carries. He's a big boy, and he's going to find his way into the end zone. So maybe that's something that you target.
Still going to see Tyler Beatty getting carries, which MIZ, but like
Jaleel McLaughlin. Yeah, it's J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, Jaleel McLaughlin, Jonah Coleman. I mean, that room is thick, man.
That's a lot of talent, but like, who do you give the damn ball to?
Yeah, it's wild, dude.
Another intriguing guy has put up serious numbers in college. Eli Heidenreich.
Yeah.
Pitt.
Yeah.
Their running back room is up and down as of late. They drafted what's his name from Iowa last year. I always forget his name. Johnson. Yes. That he was high on my board last year. It kind of struggled with dumb plays. Loved him. So we'll see what he can do. They leaned a lot on
Jaylen Warren.
Yes, Jaylen Warren, and then the guy that went to Philadelphia, he's gone now, but so he's got a chance there too, but he was really late.
But I'm pretty sure they added in Rico Dowdle.
They did add Rico Dowdle. So
once again, just thick rooms, man, with 3 or 4 guys.
That's the type of player you want, though, as a Heidenreich guy from Navy. You know he's going to be top tier locker room guy. Just can't do it on the field.
He's the kind of guy that works his ass off to get on the field, and he's going to get touches. He's just never going to be the guy. He's going to get 2 or 3 chances a game, whether it's a reception out of the backfield or a second 8 draw up the middle. I mean, he's going to get his touches, but it's not going to do anything to be impactful, I don't feel like.
Yep.
Anything else with running backs? Because just remember Jeremiah Love, obviously, and outside of that, go to a different position. I don't know what to tell you. Receivers, this is an interesting conversation. Finally, we can get to Ron's question. Ron says, wide receiver usually takes a year or 2 to adapt to the NFL. Which 2 will make the most impact in year 1?
I got an answer for this, but you go ahead.
You can go ahead. I have one guy for sure I feel good about. Who's your – give me one and I'll give you one.
So I think obviously my favorite player to make an impact year 1 is probably Jordan Tyson if he can stay healthy.
Yep.
So that's a surefire one. I'm going to go a little bit off the radar here a little bit. I think my second guy that can make an impact in a year 1 out of this wide receiver class is Malachi Fields at the New York Giants.
Wow.
Malik Neighbors is coming back from a severe injury. After that, who do you have? I think Malachi Fields could step in and be a pretty good player. I'm not going to say he's going to come in and be JSN whatsoever, but he's going to play a lot of snaps. I think this season has a chance to make a little bit of an impact.
Love that, dude. Come off the top rope deep with that. Didn't see that coming. Love it. My other one was Jordan Tyson, and I'm a little more chalk on this, but it's Jordan Tyson and KC Concepcion. That dude is legit. We loved him at NC State. We loved the move to A&M. As long as Shadur can get him the ball or whoever's playing quarterback in Cleveland can get him the rock, the dude is
if they're running 3 wide receiver sets, is going to be in there because you got Jerry Jeudy, and you're probably going to see 2 rookie start for them with Boston and KC Concepcion. So,
and Cedric Tillman's going to get his. He's going to get his as well, but
he can't stay on the field.
No, and I'm pulling up a stat here. Let me see if I can find it. The Browns run 3 wide receiver set 51% of the time.
Yeah, so
they
like the tight ends.
Yeah, not to say not enough, to be honest with you. But I
Jordan's
really
got Carnell Tate in here. I like him.
yeah.
He's gonna start day one for them. Obviously, you don't draft a guy at 4 and not play him. It's going to depend on Calvin Ridley. Honestly, can he stay on the field? Is he still the Calvin Ridley of old, which he hasn't been the past couple of years? And so I think Carnell Tate has a chance to be wide receiver 1 by the end of this season. Now, I don't think you're going to put mind-blowing stats up because Tennessee, they got everything they need really at the skill positions. They just don't have a line, and Cam Ward has been running for his life. So we'll see if they can change that this season. But that's another good point.
Yeah, Carnell Tate is really good. I am a Jordan Tyson believer over Carnell Tate, and I love the Jordan Tyson fit in New Orleans. Love that you picked him. This receiver class, like we said earlier, isn't star-studded, but it's really deep. Like, it's really deep with the same kind of guys.
Yeah.
I love Mekhi Lemon.
Yeah, I was going to say. We haven't talked about Mekhi Lemon. That kind of hinges on the A.J. Brown situation. What he's going to do. But and then again, that freaking wide receiver room at Philly is crazy. They got Devontae Smith, Mekhi Lemon, Hollywood Brown, Elijah Moore, Dontavian Wicks. Like, who's going to get the snaps here? I think Mekhi Lemon will, but we'll see. That's a deep room.
Well, and they have Dallas Goedert, Eli Stowers. Yeah, this is and Jalen Hurts likes running, and so does Saquon. So I always steer clear of Philadelphia receivers just because of that situation at quarterback and how they like to run the ball with Barkley. So I would avoid that.
I got 3 more flyers I think are worth a shot for Dynasty. Antonio Williams is really good at Clemson. Comes into the Commanders. Could possibly be wide receiver 2 or 3 on this team, depending on how they use Terry McLaurin and others this year. So watch out for him. Deshaun Stribling, liked his tape out of Ole Miss a little bit. Going to a San Francisco team that up and down the wide receiver position as well. Been a lot of drama at that position on that team in recent years with Ayuk and others. So we'll see if he can bust through. Because really it's only Ricky Pearsall at this point, it seems like, that has any sort of hope over there. And then lastly, who was the third one I had? Elijah Surratt.
Don't forget they added Mike Evans, by the way, in San Fran.
They did, but I mean, he's going to still see the field, I feel like, especially with the draft. And then Elijah Surratt, I think, was my favorite receiver on the Indiana team. Goes to Baltimore, has a chance to play there too with Lamar Jackson. So think he was a strictly possession type receiver. It's not going to bust you over the top, but like that pick and a little bit of a sleeper there too.
Yeah, there's a few guys that still. I mean, Denzel Boston, love Denzel Boston in Cleveland. Jeremy Bernard and Pitt, love that.
Him. We talked about Chris Bell. He's a good player.
Yeah, Chris Bell in Miami. The Miami room's kind of wide open. There's a lot of guys there that are about the same level of player.
But you mentioned it. This wide receiver room is just like, where's the Jeremiah Smiths? Where's the JSNs? Where's the Luther Burdens? Like, there's not those guys in here this year. And that's why you're like, well, it could, it's hum and ho around a little bit with this wide receiver class. Great players, but there's not elite guys here, I don't think, whatsoever.
No, but I tell you what, though, Chris Bell, if healthy, like right now, the top receivers in Miami are Terrace Marshall and Malik Washington.
Yeah.
Dude,
he can
Chris
play.
Bell is better than both of those guys if he's healthy.
Correct.
Chris Brazzell in Carolina, I love the fit there. I was talking to actually Jordan yesterday, and Jordan said this is a guy that he really likes, and Jordan's right with the sense of, Ted's going to get a lot of the attention, so this could free up Chris Brazzell if he gets his chances. So really like that fit as well. Ron gets in here and says, who has the best offense in QB? Like in the league, like overall? I'm assuming this question.
I would say right now it's probably the Rams. If they're all healthy. The Rams, if they're all healthy. Buffalo, just because of Josh Allen.
Well, and they added DJ Moore. That helps.
Yes.
That's huge. He finally gets
the Rams are the most consistent right now, and they got guys all over the field as long as Stafford is upright.
The Rams are on a very, very good, consistent pick on this, honestly. Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. I have to say this, and people are going to balk at this. When it comes to the best offense, in my opinion, and take the quarterback with a grain of salt, it's the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, Dak is not afraid to throw the ball over the field. Javonte Williams is a really good running back. Took a good step last year for them.
Mhm.
And if you can throw the ball all day to CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, give me them every time.
Yeah.
Honestly.
They're probably the most volatile offense. They could be number one on 1 week, and then the next week, Dak throws 2 picks and they score 14 points and lose by 20.
Yes.
That's why I kind of said the Rams are at least the most consistent. It seems like basing off of last year and who they added.
Well, it's the Matt Stafford effect too, man. The dude is just ageless. He gives you everything consistent.
That's what kind of mind-boggled me about the Ty Simpson pick a little bit. I think they had to take him there. They liked him. He was not going to be available in round 2 where they were at, and they did not want to trade up from 2 to 1 to get him and lose all their picks. But you got Stafford. This is his probably last hoorah of elite play, I would say. Why don't you go get a Jordan Tyson or somebody to throw out there to give him one more weapon to be able to take the top off and be an elite offense? Because you got a guy that's Puka who's really good, but he's always hurt and got some off-the-field injuries. Not sure what's going to go down with Devontae Adams. Kyron Williams is really good. Blake Corum is really good. Let's add one more piece and also stack tight end room as well. Let's add one more piece and just go win this thing. But I don't know.
Dude,
we trust the Rams. They've been so good.
We're not on the tight ends yet, but the Max Clare draft pick for me didn't make any sense either. Dude, you have Parkinson, Ferguson, and Higbee. Why do you need a fourth one? They're those guys are all the same. Like it's 3rd and 3. Put them out there in a 2 tight end set. Pick any of the 4, and they'll go catch it for a first. Like I'm with you. The Puka off the field stuff, you have no idea what's taking place there. Devontae Adams is old. I'm with you, dude. Go get you a burner. And I'm also one that's not completely in love with Ty Simpson. I think he's got some talent. I just don't think he is that guy. Like you put him and Stetson Bennett on the field, he is better than Stetson Bennett. But, I mean, not by a large margin, in my opinion. I think they've got some similar comps.
I'm up and down with it because you could argue Ty Simpson made some of the best throws in college football last year.
You could. You 100%
We saw it happen against Mizzou. We saw it happen in a multitude of games. Georgia, the dude was throwing just the perfect ball 40 yards down the field multiple times. He just had a lot of the other way down the stretch. He struggled the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Hey, Tristan gets in here. I guess we were just talking about it at the same time. Says Rams picked a quarterback, then their 5th tight end and 2 picks. Yeah, dude, 100%. He says it only makes sense for them to be in A.J. Brown trade talks. Very possible. Ron was talking about for the rookie wide receivers. So if you're talking for rookie wide receivers, that does change it. You're talking best offense for a rookie wide receiver to plug into.
Philadelphia.
Yeah. But once again, like you said.
At least the highest ranked here, that's going to make some sort of strides. I think you can argue the Saints. Personally,
I was going to say, if Jordan Tyson has consistent quarterback play, he's going to be the best receiver out of this class year one.
Tyler Shuck looked like he is a serviceable quarterback last year.
Yeah.
So you're talking for a wide receiver out of this class to plug into right now that, isn't ranked way low and going to like the Bengals or something, obviously. I would say probably the Saints or Philadelphia with Lemon.
Yeah. If Aaron Rodgers is back, Jeremy Bernard is wide receiver 3 for Pittsburgh. I like that a lot.
Yep.
There's a lot of guys, man. We keep saying the same thing. There's a lot of
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh loves Roman Wilson still, so he's going to play a lot.
Yep. All right, let's put a bow on this for the tight ends, and then we'll pick a late fantasy draft steal. But tight ends is going to be fairly brief. It's Kenyon Sadiq, then everybody else. And then when you get to everybody else, it's Eli Stowers, and then everybody else.
Yep. Sadiq pick weird to me. I get that's kind of like best available, similar to the Brock Bowers pick a few years back that the Raiders made. But, man, I just don't trust Geno Smith or anybody in this room. He's not going to make an impact year one, I don't think. But he's that elite that he could put up serious numbers regardless of who's playing the quarterback room. And he's going to get a lot of targets.
He is that good, man. He is that good. I don't hate what the Jets did, Brian. I'll be honest, man. Sadiq, you get Omar Cooper, both in the first round. Add it to Garrett Wilson and Donnie Mitchell. Dude, they have talent. It depends what Geno Smith you get. We've seen a lot of bad Geno Smith. We've seen a small sample of good Geno Smith. If you can get Geno Smith to just be average, just tell him just be average. Don't turn the ball over. Don't be average. We're not going to overcomplicate this. Look for all the talent that you have out there on the field because, dude, Garrett Wilson's still very talented. Omar Cooper is very talented, and Kenny and Sadiq are very talented. Just look for those guys. Don't overthink this.
I like the Eli Stowers. I think he's the best possession tight end in this draft. He's definitely not the best physically. That's obviously Sadiq, but he's the guy that's going to be able to get you those first downs consistently. He's just kind of behind Dallas Goedert, who sometimes has injury problems and just doesn't get the ball. Jalen Hurts also doesn't throw the ball over the middle, it seems like, either, so that can kind of knock it down, but we'll see. He's one of the best tight ends in this class for sure. And then, like you mentioned, drops off a cliff.
It's the Philly thing, too, though, for me, again. They have A.J. Brown that's still on the roster. We can't talk about him not being on the roster because of trade rumors. He's still on the roster. So it's the A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Now you sprinkle in Mekhi Lemon.
So many mouths to feed.
And Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley. There's a lot of guys that demand the ball, want the ball on that team. And I don't think Eli Stowers is that personality type that comes into that locker room and is like, look, man, you're going to get me the ball. This is how it's going to be. He's not that guy. I feel like he could fall under deaf ears a little bit because of his personality. And it's not a bad thing at all. I mean, credit to him, in my opinion. But it's just you have a lot of mouths to feed, man. And it's Jalen Hurts, a quarterback that runs the ball a lot too.
I think Stowers is a good future play at that position for them.
Dude, I'm serious when I say this too, that the tush push, that takes away from tight ends. You tush push like 4th and 1 on the goal line or 4th and 1 at the 50, wherever you are. That screams tight end. That's tight end's time to shine. And they do is they just rip the tight ends out of it and tush push it. So
that used to be a classic 3-yard tight end option route where you put them in the slot and, like George Kittle and Travis Kelce are so good at, you just run 5 yards and wherever the defenders aren't, you go there and you throw in the ball first down. That doesn't happen anymore, especially in Philadelphia.
No, there were tight ends that made it. Mercedes Lewis made an absolute living off that shit, dude. Sprinkle out, first down, find the sticks, catch it, fall over. Tristan says, would you rather have Lemon and Stowers or Sadiq and Omar Cooper?
I think this is an easy question.
With their current quarterbacks?
It's Lemon and Stowers for sure.
Oh,
I think Lemons is better. You'd rather have Sadiq and Omar Cooper?
I'd rather have Sadiq than all 4 of these guys. So yes.
I think Lemons is better than Omar Cooper, and that difference is that difference is bigger than the difference between Stowers and Sadiq. I think Stowers and Sadiq are closer than you think. So I would rather have Lemons and Stowers.
I'm only taking the Sadiq and Omar Cooper side because I think Sadiq's the best player of these 4 listed. I love Mekhi Lemon. Don't get me wrong.
I agree.
I totally agree that Mekhi Lemon is much better than Omar Cooper. Don't disagree with that at all. I think what we saw with Eli Stowers is he is very good, but we saw Diego Pavia absolutely feed that guy. I mean, absolutely feed him the football because they came together through college, so they had that relationship. So I lean the Sadiq side just because of Kenyon Sadiq. I have that much respect for him.
If we're talking straight up right now, teams they're on, I go Lemons and Stowers. But if we're talking players off the rip, like for a month ago, who do I'd rather have? I think I'd probably lean Sadiq and Cooper.
Yeah. And I don't think the fit for Stowers and Mekhi Lemon's good in Philly, and I don't think the fit for Omar Cooper and Sadiq is good in New York. So I don't think either any of them 4 got a good fit based on their quarterbacks. So we'll see what happens there.
After that, the tight end room, we talk about Max Clare a little bit. Such a deep room. Oscar Delp out of Georgia was up and down for them, has a chance to play quite a bit in New Orleans, I think. I mentioned Raridan in New England. After that, it's just like a freaking Grand Canyon cliff of tight ends. I wouldn't even pay attention. Heck, there's a few of these guys on my list here that I'm looking at that, I'm not even really sure where they played college.
Justin Jolly was really good at NC State.
Yeah. Do you know who Jack Injuries is?
Nope.
Yeah. See, he's number 8 on. I had to look up some tight end rankings because it was that.
Look, if
Bear
a guy gets by you and me, and we're not really for sure about him,
yeah,
steer clear of him. If we don't know about him, that's saying something. Don't forget Eli Raridon at New England, Michael Trigg undrafted at Dallas. Take you a late flyer on Trigg. As we said earlier in this episode, if he touches the field, he's going to get his. They got to give him a chance to get on the field. Let's put a bow on this real quick. Brent, we've been on here for an hour. Give me 1 or 2 guys that are late fantasy draft steals for you that we haven't talked about so far.
So I think you can eliminate quarterbacks because we talked about them a lot, and they're probably all going to get picked.
All of mine are receivers.
I would go Jacoby Lane is a good pick.
Yep. Number 1 on my list right there.
Jacoby Lane is a good pick. Baltimore was the wide receiver 2 on the opposite side of Mekhi Lemon. I think he's a good one. I think you could argue Deion Burks is another good pick. Went to Indianapolis. There's a little bit of room there. Other than that, man, I don't know. Let me take a look at the running backs here a little bit. I mentioned Roman Hemby, but that's a deep room. I don't know. Wide receivers, I think I'll just go with those 2 guys.
If I'm taking a running back, it's probably Desmond Reed. If I'm taking a running back, it's probably Desmond Reed. We haven't talked about him.
Yeah.
On Buffalo, was really good in college, really, really good in college. If he gets his chances, I think he's better than Ray Davis, Frank Gore Jr., Ty Johnson. I think he easily could be running back number 2 in the Bills. Another guy on my list is Kevin Coleman at Miami.
I was just going to say.
Yep, if you get Kevin Coleman on the field, you get him on the field, and not being a homer with this, but you get him on the field, he's going to get his chances. He's going to get open. He's very good at finding soft spots in zone defenses and setting up a camp and catching the ball. Also, the last guy for me, because I had Jacoby Lane and Deion Burks as well, is same team, Caleb Douglas at Miami. I think that Miami receiver room's so wide open that there's a lot of guys that could take that step. I'm pretty sure Theo Weiss is still there from last year. Any of these guys –
Malik Washington,
love him. There's a lot of guys that if they get their chances in that Miami offense, and if Malik Willis can get them the ball, there's a large question mark there at the quarterback position. But Malik Willis is not afraid to chuck it, man. So if you want to take a few flyers on some Miami receivers late, Kevin Coleman is the guy to do that with, and Caleb Douglas as well, because Caleb Douglas can take the top off the defense.
Absolutely.
Anything else? Jordan comes in here and says Kendrick Law. Yeah, Kendrick Law from Kentucky. Really, really talented receiver. Don't necessarily love the fit, but he was really talented. And I think he was a 5th, 6th, or 7th round pick, if I recall correctly. Just another one of them guys, man, that if they get their chance, they can make it happen.
The problem is if Kendrick Law was in the 2025 draft class, he's not even getting talked about as far as drafting in a rookie draft. So this class is so thin as far as fantasy football is concerned that once you get past like pick 110, who cares? Pick who you want. Like I could see people picking, I don't know, Denzel Boston or the 110, and then after that, who cares who you pick? It's just going to be – it's so even at that point, whereas in recent years, if you had pick like 207, you were actually kind of excited a little bit because there's still going to be a little bit of meat on that bone. But no.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not going to get deep in it because we've been on here forever, but I was in a deep trade conversation involving first-round picks yesterday, and I was just like, man, that the first-round talent's just not there. I'm not willing to cut ties with some of these top-tier players that are already surefire things for some question marks in this draft. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
There's like really after you're like pick 103 or 4. I mean,
I would say 106. 106 is the line I drew.
One of the question marks are just starting to overpower you, whereas you weren't getting those until 204, 205 in recent years as far as a rookie draft is concerned. So.
And I hate to be that guy, Bryant, but I have no interest in Fernando Mendoza with my first-round pick. I'm not going to get him in either league that I'm in because I'm too far back anyway. But like if I was 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, I would probably trade out because it's Jeremiah Love and then could give really a shit
Well,
less. I'm not.
honestly, if you're 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, I don't know if I'm taking Mendoza anyway. I think
Correct.
if you're in the 1-7, 1-8, I think that's the range where you start thinking about it.
He'll go earlier than that just because people are with quarterbacks and running backs.
Yep.
But
And then
yeah,
that kind of puts a wrap on this. It depends on what your league is. If it's a one quarterback league, then I think he falls further. If he's a two quarterback league, then I think he gets up higher.
yeah, 100%. Totally agree with that. All right, boys. Dave, Brian, anything else? Dave, it looks like you got the kiddo on your hands, so we'll let you all get out of here. Brian, good luck at the wedding that you have to go to today. And,
one more thing to add.
Go ahead.
The 27 class is looking to be a lot deeper, so be mindful if you're mid-draft or you're trying to trade picks or everything. If you can pick up a few 27 picks, on paper it's looking to be pretty deep, so that might be a solid thing to do. So keep that in mind.
2027 is much better. There ain't no doubt. Give me all the first-round picks you can. Give me Cam Coleman, Jeremiah Smith. Keep them coming. They love all those guys. All right, fellas, this episode was tons of fun. I like how we do this. We'll make sure and we keep this in the rotation, probably touch back up on it later, and continue to do some fantasy talks for college and NFL down the road. I know people love these kinds of conversations, so tons of fun here. That's Dave. That's Brian. I'm Colin. You can follow us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Deep Threat Sports, X, DT_sports_, Facebook, Deep Threat Sports Network. Hey, thanks for joining us. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends. College football season's back full tilt, damn near, and all the good conversations begin now for Deep Threat Sports Network. We are going to stay pretty active moving forward from this point on. So, fellas, appreciate y'all being here today. And until next time, peace.